ayé ó ṣeun o, ọjọ́ oníṣojú mi.
All right, everyone.
Good
Welcome to another series.
evening, good evening, good evening. Wow. I have really missed the audience. I have missed the program. How is your mental health? It's been a while. I know that 2 editions have been missed, and I apologize that I've not been able to come on air for 2 weeks. It was due to a lot of circumstances beyond my control, engagements here and there, just to make our society, our community better. And I just said it today that I must definitely come on air, as it is World Mental Health Day. It is World Mental Health Day. And as a great advocate for mental wellness, for mental well-being, and for a great health promoter in terms of mental illness, and also how to deal with mental illness, and support people going with having problems with mental illness and situations affecting their mental health. I have to show solidarity. I have to, loud it, the clarion call from World Health Organization, from mental health bodies all around the world. I have to support them. I have to carry the message forward. I have to promote health and well-being in that area. So it is very necessary to come tonight, even if it's just for a few minutes, if it's for deliberation, talking to different people, rubbing minds together with people who do great works on mental wellness. We thought of it that we should speak about World Mental Health today, and the theme that has been chosen this year, World Mental Health Day 2024, the theme that has been chosen by World Health Organization, which they feel conversations to be should be held regarding such theme, and it's quite huge. It's hot on in the marketplace. It's hot on the agenda. It's hot in conversations being held globally in relation to mental health in workplace. As a health practitioner and a public health advocate, since COVID, it's been really, really hot in the National Health Service here in UK to promote mental wellness in workplace, to sound the clarion call in regards to mental health and in work environment, either public or private enterprise. So well-being is huge, and a lot of resources have been devoted into health, mental well-being in the various organizations here in the UK, as I said, either public or private. A lot is being done on staff welfare, staff mental well-being, and structures have been put in place and new policies are being developed daily, periodically, on how to ensure that employees, are well looked after, how to ensure that organizations, employers are thinking about well-being, mental well-being for their employees, and also providing structures to look after their well-being while they're at work. For anyone who is working either in the public sector or private sector, you would agree with me that we spend a great percentage of our hours in work environment. Either you're working remotely from home or you're traveling to work, wherever you work. You spend a greater part of your productive day or your productivity, with your employer and meeting targets, or actually, even if you're self-employed, you spend greater part of your hours trying to meet your target, trying to ensure that you build structures to bring food on your table. And it's important while you do this to look after your mental wellness. So today I will be talking about mental wellness in work place, and sharing examples of my own experiences about, looking after my mental health in work environment. And also I have a guest who would be coming into the studio, um, to also, collaborate with me and also share opinion on this theme for World Mental Health Day, as chosen by the World Health Organization. So while waiting for my guest, Professor Ola Salau, I'm just going to, carry on until he comes into the studio and we can both do justice to this topic, which is hot on discussion today, as it is World Mental Health Day. Yes, mental wellness in work environment is very, very important. And why is this? As I've said, we spend between 6 to 12 hours. For those that do shift pattern, nurses who spend in clinical setting doing either day shift or night shift, they spend about roughly 12 hours at work. And for those who do day shift, like myself, 7.5 hours, that's quite productive, because if you add 7.5 hours to 8 hours of rest, which with sleep, as an adult, you're meant to have at least 8 hours of sleep on a daily basis, which is required and backed up by evidence-based research. As you grow, your hours of sleep, is meant to increase. And but as you age, you find out that you sleep less, waking up intermittently at night, especially making the conveniences, the loo, facilities, toilet your companion, because you visit the loo quite a few times, as you age during the night. And for some reason, you are kept waking up intermittently. Maybe it's age related. So if you add 7.5 hours to 8, that's already 15.5 or 16 hours. And there are 24 hours in a day. So that's spending 7.5 or 12 hours on a shift pattern or a work, which is your productive, hours. It's very important to look after your mental health. So, looking after your mental health in workplace is both your employer's responsibility and also your responsibility. Your employer's responsibility in terms of the work that they give you to do, in as much as you have to meet your targets at work. They also have to ensure that you are given the resources, you are provided with the resources of being able to, being able to meet your targets, creating structures, creating friendly work environment, creating environment whereby you are, you are, how would I put it? You are relaxed, which is very important. Friendly, conducive environment for you to work in, and for you to be able to relate with others and be able to function at optimum level. And also creating structures and safe space for you to be able to talk about your experiences at work, feel supported, and feel valued as a member of staff. Because without having all this, your mental health is going to be affected adversely. And because of this, here in the UK, when you are employed in a role, to work, there is always what we call statutory mandatory training, which we call StatMan. Either physically, you go and attend face-to-face training packages, which would help you to ease into the role successfully, and which would also help your mental health, to know what you are expected to do at work, prepare you for it, and also give you the assurance that the role you are in at work is helping you to live both a balanced work and family life, which is very, very important, because work environment can be very stressful. And if not properly managed and you don't feel supported, your mental health will be affected, especially if you feel that your employers are not giving you the opportunity to live a work and family life balance whereby both are suffering. Your role at work is suffering, and your family dynamics is not fitting into the job that you're doing. So, when you get a job here in the UK, those start mandatory trainings that you attend would help you to know, your role, to ease into it. And then there's what we call shadowing protected time, whereby you are um, given like sub mentors or colleagues within the same role who would help you to ease fully into your job and support you to be able to start performing your schedules, your job description, your role at work. And this is extremely important to help your mental wellness. When you are, at induction level at work, there is what is referred to as signposting. When you're doing your induction and you're giving your induction package to tick off on those things that should be in place. A lot of employers would have occupational health. They would have staff well-being spaces. They would have union. They would have maybe for minority groups and things like that. They would have champions of minority groups. They would have bodies within the organization where you can fit in, which will be safe space for you to talk and to express your views and for you to, free your head space or mind about issues that are not going well within your, within you, or challenges which you are experiencing in work environment, which tend to be affecting you, stressing you out, stressing your mental wellness, stressing you physically, emotionally, and productivity wise, and is affecting you adversely at meeting your KPIs and performing your role. And for myself, I remember in my last job, I was actually a union rep and came across quite a lot of staff who would be assigned to me to work with because they were affected by emotions created due to experience in workplace. And those experiences have affected their mental health, have affected their emotions, and also affected them physically or psychologically. So the theme for this year, mental health in workplace, is very deep. And I have first-hand experience from being a union rep, people who have supported. And some of the themes that have come out from issues that I've dealt with, issues that have been reported to me as a union rep, things like harassment, bullying, and work overload, which has caused stress, and many of these have led to either unhealthy unhealthy staff retention, as in, very high threshold of people actually leaving their employers due to such things, and also a lot of, teams not functioning well, teams not being productive due to conflict in workplace, due to bullying and harassment, due to stress created, man-made stresses, work-related stresses. And sorry, I have a cuckoo clock in my house that tells the time at every hour. So yeah, these themes are, are all related to mental health in workplace, and some are some are quite intense, which we as union rep have had to like take forward with employers, advocating for staff and employees to say that no one should come to work and feel harassed. No one should come to work and feel undervalued, or, made to go through emotional turmoil. And most of these, you know, most of these issues have definitely led employees to actually terminate their employment, resign, or just, walk out on the job, because many will tell you that they want to prioritize their mental wellness. And at the end of the day, it's just a job that they would rather walk away than feel threatened in their mental wellness. So, yeah, it's very important. Themes that come out from actually supporting people in workplace, it's very key. And nowadays, a lot of questionnaires, a lot of templates are being designed by employers in work environment, just to collate feedback and information through communication channels about feelings of staff, feelings of employees with regards to the organization that they work for. And a huge importance is being placed on mental wellness, mental health in workplace. So, yeah. And when most of these questionnaires are filled, a lot are filled confidentially, whereby employers will tell you you don't need to add your name or your email, and they're done secretly, so that employees will not be victimized, and employees would not be seen as, whistleblowing on their employers. And it's good that such things are happening to support wellness, mental wellness in workplace, because as I earlier said, as a union rep, major themes do come out of union members paid up subscription members who use union to advocate for them in the workplace due to experiences like bullying, experiences like bullying, experiences like harassment, experiences like work overload, whereby they're like targeted by line managers and work is not evenly distributed, and an employer who is in a team would tend to take on more work schedule than others who sometimes might be favorite of line managers. So yeah, in as much as a union rep, I support people like that. I would share my own experiences because I've been in the NHS close to 20 years, and I've worked in different acute settings, in different also community settings. And I have experienced harassment, bullying, and stress at work due to either being line managed by someone who there's conflict of interest, or there's who we just don't get on for some reason or the other. I feel I'm very assertive, very blunt, and I feel that as a leadership role which I've assumed, I'm quite quick to point out when things are not going right and substantiate them with policies of the organization. Maybe when people tend to cut corners. And yeah, I have had to assertively and diplomatically state my reasons for that, which does not go well with some of the line managers. And then, because you say that, there's this subtle bullying, subtle, way of creating additional stress to the point that employee might not even feel happy coming to work, or they carry the baggage and the stress of work home, which could then affect them in settling down in their family, or which could create additional stress because they are stressed at work. And work forms a greater part of your existence, as a human being. So yes, definitely it's huge. Stress in workplace. And World Health Organization has highlighted that in the theme of today, and also talked and touched on, bullying and harassment at workplace. What are employers doing to try and, create platforms for conflict resolution in workplace, and trainings, and maybe champions for this kind of problems that people go through in work experience. I remember when I was studying nursing almost 20 years ago here in the UK, it wasn't an easy road for me, both in university and placement areas. And I didn't feel supported. I didn't feel supported at all. There were times where I would come home crying to my husband and threaten and just, be so emotional to the point that I would say, I'm leaving. I'm not pursuing a career in nursing again. And there was nowhere to go because I felt I was being bullied, I was being harassed, and I was just going through unnecessary man-made stress, which kind of was you know, putting roadblocks, just man-made stresses which did not want me to succeed. And these were from people who I should have been getting support from. And this seriously affected my mental health. And this is almost 20 years down the line. I would tell you that at times when I flash back or reflect and I remember those days, especially when I meet people who are understudying, now as nurses, especially in the Black minority ethnic group, or Asian minority ethnic group, who I mentor, or they are training in maybe organizations, NHS organizations, where I am a stakeholder or having one thing or the other to do. Most of them kind of warm up to me because I create a platform where they are accessible to talk to me, where I lower my guards and embrace them and want to genuinely help them because of my own experiences. Some will cry on my shoulder, some, while crying, will verbalize. Amidst the tears, I'm providing tissue for them. I reflect on my own experiences and I say to myself, no one should be made to go through this. No one should be made to experience, stress, bullying, harassment, and, conflict in work place. And it's so sad that almost 20 years after I have qualified, these structures still exist, deliberately or, quietly, to make student nurses go through severe stress and subtle bullying while they're studying, as where they're studying to become nurses. And I was resolute in my decision that if I ever come across any nurse, any student nurse, regardless of color, regardless of race, regardless of ethnic background, I would throw my weight to support them. Because I remember in my own days, I went as far as going to union with evidences to say that this is what my experiences are. Certain structures, certain people are opposed to my succeeding to become a pediatric nurse, which was my path of nursing, which I wanted to study. And it was a rough 3 years ride, but because of who I am, what I represent, and my assertiveness, which a lot of people do not have, or they are they're quite quiet, they're quite, how would I call it, shy, and they are just the way they are wired. They're not very courageous or bold enough to speak up for themselves. That doesn't mean that they are underachieving or they are not disposed to succeed. We are all wired differently. But because of my own character, I'm very assertive, especially when it comes to things that I believe should be done right, things that are within the policy, the procedure. And yeah, and my unionism spans over, decades. And it's because of my character, whereby I've built myself to want to support people who, are perceived as weak, but not weak. So yeah, I have experienced bullying in workplace. I have experienced total harassment. And yeah, stresses have been created in my life. And I have fought against it. And along the line, I have sought unions' help to support me, which they are. That's why I always tell people in workplace, as an employee, make sure you are a paid up member of a union, because you don't know the day you need them. And these unions are there because they know such things, you know, such things exist in workplaces, such things like bullying, conflict of interest, harassment, abuse of power, and stresses are created. And at times, people and structures are set not to make you achieve, not to make you, um, you know, capable of leading work and family life balance. So that's why unions say, come to them, we would help you, in as much as the HR is there to support the organization, and unions are there, or champions are there to support the staff, the employee. And that's what we call, there's a champion that is called chair of staff side, which I have always related with in every organization where I have worked, chair of staff side, who takes sides with staff, and bridge is the bridge between union, the staff, and the HR and the organization. And they listen to the staff more and table cases, of staff, and they present what the staff is saying, what they are perceiving when there is low morale in teams, where divisions are not working. Could be adult division, children's division, or whatever the organogram of your organization is, and the different divisions within the organogram, where they perceive that things are not being done right. They tend to come together, do team building days, listen to staff, do meetings where grievances, are heard about what is not going right within the organization. So, yeah, these unions are there in health, related health related practices, health care. We have Unite. I'm not selling them on my platform. We have Unison. We have Royal College of Nursing. And once you're a paid up member, and you encounter challenges in workplace, they would definitely rise up to the challenge, listen to you, and be your advocate and support you in resolving grievances, conflict resolution within your work area. And to a large extent, I've seen that when you are a represented employee by union, most times organizations they tread softly, because union reps are they're not, I wouldn't say, they're not a walkover. They are quite they have a lot of policies, they have a lot of you know they are backed up by a lot of policies, a lot of experience, and a lot of documentation, which they expect the work environment to actually abide by. So when they are found wanting, when HR through the organization is found wanting, they're quite stern in putting organizations in check, to support the staff to live balanced work and family life, have, secure their mental health, secure their emotion and well-being in work area. And yeah, it's very important to know your rights. Human Rights Act of 1989, and also your rights as in employment area. You also know your rights as a member of a team. Also, your rights in terms of HR policies, your rights in terms of being a union member, what you can ask the union to do for you. All these come together, and all this support in mental wellness, mental health in workplace. Because if you have a grievance against any structure or human being within your work area, maybe within your team, maybe within, leadership role or leadership representation, and you feel that you are below in the organogram, you need a voice to speak for you, because that grievance you have might affect you mentally if you are not able to speak up. And a lot of people have been bullied into actually resigning due to pressure being put on them, due to stress being encountered in workplace environment. You wake up in the morning, there's no joy, you don't look forward to going to work. And that speaks volume. You have a team which you feel you don't fit in, you're not being carried along, you feel that you're being targeted, you're being given more caseload or more job role than every member of the team. You're subtly or indirectly picked on. There's a lot of dynamics which affect people when they are in work environment, and some are very present in the eye, but issues like bullying, harassment, stresses can sometimes be hidden and be done, behind how would I call it? They're done without unseeingly, but you know it's there. So unions are quick to help you fish out those things, support you to have a voice. And unfortunately, a lot of people, a lot of employees who are quite who feel that they can't rise up to defend themselves, they would rather not even go there. They're kind of, they're stressed so much, they are overwhelmed so much by these experiences, and they just throw in the towel. They throw in the towel, they just leave the job and say, you know what, I don't have the strength, I don't have the capability, I don't have the, I don't have the emotional strength to deal with this. And because of that, you see an organization recording very high threshold of resignation because of the structures that are in place that would not help them to keep staff retention. And most of these themes come out: bullying, harassment in workplaces, stresses, man-made stresses, lack of opportunity for development, for growth, academically, role-wise. You're in a job where you are stagnant for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you don't have a voice. Even when you go and educate yourself, you go for all the trainings, for some reason, maybe your line manager doesn't like your face, doesn't believe in you, even though your CV speaks volume. You are cut short of moving forward in your role, in your, pursuit for leadership and such things. At times you don't have the willpower to fight them, and you just say, you know what, I've done my time here, I'm moving on. And that's very, very common in healthcare, not only in UK, but globally, in diaspora, and in many countries. So it's left for you to define what is right and what is wrong. And I always encourage people, just as I am encouraged when I go to trainings, when I go to avenues and conferences, when I just reach out to structures that will help me to develop myself. Because in every work area, there's a department called Learning and Development. No one will help you harness it. You would go out there and harness it for yourself, develop yourself, look for structures. So when I do this, they say information is power. Communication is a wheel. There's always a sender, there's always a message, there's always a receiver, and there's always, feedback. So if you are not going out there to put structures in place to inform yourself, to gather knowledge, to push yourself beyond boundaries that does not want you to succeed. Many a times employers would directly or indirectly create structures that would negate your development, structures that would, kind of block you from achieving your aim, and it's left for you to read policies, to read national documents, frameworks that would give you advantage to be able to advocate for yourself and take you to the next level. There's always this saying among people who are of like minds, people who I have related with, people who are of the same ethnic background as myself, or we share the same views, and we talk amongst ourselves, that things that maybe others will get on a platter of gold because we're in a foreign land, a lot of us have to work 10 times harder to be able to get same things. And your career path, your development, your learning, your CV, your profile, must speak for you. Nothing is gotten on a platter of gold. You work for it and you are deserving of it. That is how you have earned it. So you have to work hard, read policies to your favor, procedures, and know them to be able to support yourself and build structures to guide your mental health in workplace. Because most times work environment can be very harsh, brash, and a lot of stresses which would affect you emotionally, physically, and also mentally, which might stop you from actualizing or meeting your KPIs. And once you're not meeting your KPIs, once you're not performing at optimum level, employers are quick to micromanage you. They are quick to set capability plans, which will create additional stresses. And most times they forget that these capability plans they have set, a lot of things have contributed to you not being able to meet up the role because you are affected mentally. And if you're not able to advocate for yourself or get, structures like union to advocate for you, you're on your way out of that job. Because most times the HR will not support you. They are trained to support the organization. So you need a voice to speak for you. And that's why they always, when they write to you, if there's a grievance or there's a case you have to answer, they will write there because they know that it's part of the policy that you are represented at workplace when there is an issue on ground, like capability or like grievance against another person. So it's now left for you to unearth that, educate yourself, get union to support you. Because most things that union will support you on, they are things that have to do with the things that come out that World Health Organization is tackling by setting the 2024 World Health Organization, celebration as mental health in workplace. They know that it exists. So the unions are like the voice of the voiceless, and they know they know most of the policies by heart. So it's now left for you to use them to be able to speak up. So what are we saying? As I round up, a lot of people's mental health is affected by structures created in workplace, man-made structures, policies that sometimes the organization themselves set and they don't follow. Teams which are, extremely toxic. Teams that are managed by people who are sometimes one-sided and have favoritism, and don't practice equal opportunity in workplace, though that is very subjective when they say equal opportunity in workplace. A lot of us who are union reps always ask what they mean by equal opportunity, because that is a very verbose, that is a very, that's a big umbrella to actually act on. You need to, compare, how would I put it? You need to compactimize it. You need to break it down into sections and say you're talking about equal opportunity in workplace, diversity in ethnicity and diversity. Which areas are you looking into? Because at times there's some hidden policies, there's some hidden laws on how far, certain certain diversities can go or reach. So yeah, unions they help to kind of, be the cushion to support employees to have that voice to speak up. So it's a very, very good topic, and I think I have been able to educate a bit, been able to shed more light, and also would want to thank the World Health Organization, all advocates of mental wellness in workplace, all employers who have, joined the bandwagon, who have, taken the theme and put the theme into perspective in either the public service or the private sector, and are thinking seriously about mental well-being, mental wellness for employees in workplace. Just today, I and my close buddy, my my colleague in my team, which I work in the office, we went for training today at work, and we had to travel to one of our sites for that training. And while we sat down to have late breakfast, we went into the, I would call it kitchen space provided for staff to have their breakfast. And for some reason, after COVID, this community service, national health service within this locality where I work, they have redesigned the the eating area, the space created for staff, thinking about our well-being, thinking about our work experience while we spend the either 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours at work, and making sure that our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health, you know, is happy while we are at work. And we got talking, and I mentioned to her that as she read the Department of Health, the latest policy and engagement for staff in regards to you know, mental well-being and well-being in workplace, and that is part of the resolution which was taken to Parliament, debated on, and then, you know, documents were rolled out to either local authorities, NHS organizations to get on the ball. Breakfast options were actually provided for us in this new space of the kitchen. Cereals, you know, for either vegetarians or non-vegetarians, or for people who, you know, healthy cereals, milk, and you know, bread were provided, tea and coffee. You know, it's just made us feel welcome, even though we don't work there on a daily basis. We work from 3 different locations. And she said, "Oh, Toyin, this is new and this is nice." Then I told her, I said, "Yeah, from that document, that was the, you know, that was the communique which was rolled out from Parliament, where it was debated on." And almost 20 years ago, when I was working in another NHS establishment organization, it was quite traumatic, and I mean traumatic. A very, very big NHS organization for children. And I trained there, stayed on to work there. And we all came to work as nurses on a particular day, early 2000. And we just got a notification by email and also by print, you know, communication stating that bread, milk, sugar, and coffee has been withdrawn. Can you imagine? Has been withdrawn from nurses, that we are no longer being provided for this, you know, this, I wouldn't call it materials, this breakfast options. And we all began to talk and say that, what are we worth as nurses? And in this organization, 80% of nurses that work in this acute section have to leave their homes, because we resume by 7:45 a.m. to do a 12-hour shift. We have to leave home about 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. to be able to arrive on shift for 7:45, meaning that we don't have breakfast at home before coming. And now the incentives of being given bread, being given milk, being given sugar and coffee and tea at you know, the eating area, space provided for us, is taken away. We are told that we need to bring our milk, we need to bring our coffee, we need to bring our sugar, we need to bring our bread. You just can imagine that. So I'm very sure this improvement was because people spoke up, and then COVID came, which created more awareness on staff welfare, employees' welfare, well-being, and communications, conversations, policies were debated on to say, you know what, we need to start looking after our employees, because it doesn't reflect well on employers, especially the National Health Service, which I work for, whereby a lot of workforces in organization have low staff retention. And I, for one, when I'm coming into your organization and I'm seeing that the staff retention is poor and people are living in their 50s, in their hundreds, in their, 200s, and staff retention is poor, I ask myself that, do I really want to be here? And when I attend interview for a job, I'm very sensitive to ask questions. And I do read about the organization before I go there. And I put filters to the ground, I listen. And if I'm lucky, I have friends who are working in that organization before or have left. I tend to borrow, from their brains to say, what do you think? No matter how high the leadership position I'm being offered, I would look before signing that contract. And the major thing I look at is, how is this going to impact on my mental health, on my mental well-being? How is the structure going to affect me? The role I'm going to come and perform there, my job description, is it going to stress me out? Is it going to add value to me as a person? Am I going to be in a team whereby I'm happy? Am I going to be in a place where the organization is going to put structures in place for me to have, good work and family balanced, outcomes? If that doesn't look as if it's going to happen, trust me, I'm not signing your contract, because I've come so far and it took a while for me to be a voice for myself. So I'm not going to engage with you, no matter how much you think that you want me to come and work for you. I would turn the job down, because my mental health is very important. And today I want people to start borrowing a leaf from a lot of themes that I've raised in this World Mental Health Day, to use it as a guiding principle for themselves in work area, to secure and make sure they look after their mental wellness, their mental health when they're in workplace. So on this note, I am going to sign out. Unfortunately, Professor Ola Salau, who was meant to join us for Nigeria on this session and segment, for some reason, we just couldn't get him in, maybe due to network. For a long time, it's been raining, brim and stone. It's torrential rains in all part of the world, even with the flooding in Florida, the hurricane. Our heart goes out to them. Here in the UK, we've had several flooding episodes within the last 3 weeks, which has even claimed lives. So I know it's raining all over the world, and most especially Nigeria is also being hit by severe flood, which would definitely affect communication, gadgets like mobile phones and services, to reach people. So I'm sure that's one of the issues Professor Olasalau is having today. But I'm sure he's watching on Facebook and making comments. So on this note, I would leave you, love you, and say Happy World Mental Health Day to all of us. Be kind to your mind. Be kind to your mental health. Mental illness is real. Depression is real. Anxiety is real. Panic attack is real. Bipolar is real. So someone has put there, and stigmatization, labeling, discrimination everywhere. It's very important. And be a voice for the voiceless in your workplace. Support people, support your colleagues. Speak up when things are not going right. Don't bottle them to the point whereby your mental health is affected. Read policies. Join a union. So on that note, I still remain OLUWANIYI-ASAAJU, the founder, CEO of KOA Foundation, who is a big advocate for mental wellness. I say, see you on Sunday on another segment of how is your mental health today. God bless you and have a great evening.
Oh my God. Máa fọwọ́ mi yìnyán lógo. Máa ohun tí mo ní yìnyán bàbá. Èrè kí ló lè jẹ́ fún mi? Nígbà tí mo bá ti wọnú ilẹ̀ lọ. Erùpẹ̀ ilẹ̀ kò lè yìnyán lógo bàbá mi. Máa fọwọ́ mi yìnyán. Máa fọwọ́ mi yìnyán lógo. Máa ohun tí mo ní o. Máa ohun tí mo ní yìnyán bàbá. Èrè kí ló lè jẹ́ fún mi? Nígbà tí mo bá ti wọnú ilẹ̀ lọ. Erùpẹ̀ ilẹ̀ kò lè yìnyán lógo bàbá mi. Torí pé ó mú mi wà láyé, ó ṣeun o. Ó mú mi wà láyé, ó ṣeun o. Ọjọ́